Okay, number 28 is a paragraph proof, but I chose to do it as a 2-column proof because I prefer those. So I'm going to start with what we know. We know that px is equal to py. Let's go ahead and mark that in our sketch. Px is equal to py, and then we'll jot down the given. AB and CD equidistant from P, and they've been kind enough to interpret that for us, which means that px is congruent to py. That is our given. Next, we're going to go to something that you can always use with circles if you know the radius. And I'll just mark that here with double tick marks. We know that all of our radii are congruent. So let's take a minute and jot all of that down. We know that PB is congruent to PA, which is congruent to PD, which is congruent to PC, because all radii are congruent. Okay? I hope that you can see now that we have hypotenuse, leg, hypotenuse, leg, hypotenuse, leg, hypotenuse, leg on all 4 of these triangles. So we can state that all the triangles are congruent, all those little triangles. So that's going to be our third statement. Triangle PBX is congruent to triangle PAX, which is congruent to triangle PBY, which is congruent to triangle PCY. And that is by hypotenuse, leg. Okay, number 4 now is that we can take any of these 4 triangles that we've proved congruent, and we can say that the corresponding parts are congruent. So I'm going to show that this, 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 and this, those are all congruent to one another. Okay, so that means that AX is congruent to BX, which is congruent to CY, which is congruent to DY, and you probably beat me to it, but that is by CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. All right, now let's come back over here and notice that AX and XB together form AB, right? Okay, so that's the segment addition postulate. Let's do that as our next point. We can say that AX plus BX is equal to AB. And we can also say that CY plus DY is equal to CD. And that's going to be the segment addition postulate. And we will finish out with a couple more points here. So we know that AX plus BX, so in other words, we said basically the 2 small parts equal the whole thing. Now we can say that because of corresponding parts, because of point number 4, we can use some substitution. So we can say that CY plus DY is equal to AB, and this reason is by substitution. Okay, and now that we've used, now that we have substitution, we can say as our final point 7, we can say that whoops, I'm running off the paper here. Let me just bring 7 over here. We can say that AB is congruent to CD, and that is by the transitive property. Okay, let me just talk you through that part here. If you see that, remember the transitive property is kind of like a bridge that lets you go from AB, we want to get from AB to CD. Notice that CY plus DY are the exact same thing. So AB is equal to CY plus DY, which is equal to CY plus DY, which is equal to CD. So we can say that's how we could go from here to here. And that was by the transitive property